What's going on, people? Welcome back to the opposition preview as we look ahead to the game against Brentford on the weekend. The season is flying by as we approach our third Premier League game of the season. I'm joined by Dave Lane from the Beesotted Brentford podcast. If you guys do enjoy or want to see Brentford content, I 100% recommend that. I was on their podcast as well, giving my perspective on the game. As always, if you do enjoy it, make sure to leave a like and subscribe and let us know your thoughts on the game in the comment section down below. Laney, how you feeling? How you feeling after which was an exciting last season, I thought, from a neutral perspective for Brentford. I thought, you played some very good football. You was even in talks for potentially finishing in the European spots. It didn't quite happen, finished 9th last year. But how would you sum up the season? Because you've become, last season, because you've become a team that a lot of Premier League clubs look up to now.
I'm absolutely loving life in the Premier League. I'll be lying if I said I wasn't. Obviously we don't win every week, but it's been a really good journey. We haven't been battered week in, week out, which some predicted we would be. The football we're playing, the confidence we're showing, the maturity that the young team have shown, and we're spreading the goals around now, and we're proving that we're not just a one sort of horse team now. So without Ivan Toney, last season, I think Brentford. All football fans, they become used to success, don't they? And you kind of expect more. And I guess there's some of that starting to creep in. But I'd say we've moved on to be just happy to be here. But I think we're all relieved and really excited that it looks like nothing's changed. We started off the season as we played most of last, with a bit of a swagger, some confidence and a real sense of teamwork and belief. So looking forward to the season ahead. I'm looking forward to hopefully beating Palace at last at the weekend as well.
Yeah, we'll talk about our draws because there's been a lot, and it's funny. It's always the same result, home and away. Last season it was the 1-0s, and the season before that it was the 0-0. So we'll see what happens this season. But of course, the biggest question about Brentford is, can they do it without Toney? But before we talk about life without Toney right now, which I think you're doing very well with, how did you feel when the news came out towards the end of last season? Do you think it impacted your season in any way?
I don't think it did really. It was a big distraction. Yeah, the news broke kind of back in sort of October the previous year, last year, just before the World Cup and just before, Toney, was due to be named in it, probably in the squad that went out to Qatar. But we've coped with the situation and the ban pretty okay, I'd say. I mean, no one wants their best player to have this kind of question mark over their future, and it's not ideal. Let's not pretend that Brentford fans aren't upset and let down by this whole thing. We've been punished by because of the actions of someone that has clearly screwed up, and to go without him for 6 months of the season, it could have gone horribly wrong. If we literally were all about him, then without him, where are the goals going to come from? I think the club have done pretty well to get Kevin Schade in to kind of cover the numbers up front. But you take Ivan Toney's goals out of any team, you're gonna kind of, it's gonna have a negative impact. So we're gonna have to work really hard and be really clever and but keep our fingers crossed that things continue as they've started. So it's not great. We're not happy.
Yeah, well, you say that, but that's what's special about Brentford. It seemed like life without Toney is fine. It seemed like Toney hasn't left. I mean, he scored about 20 Premier League goals last season, and start of the season, there's been no problems. I mean, Mbeumo's doing well, Wissa's doing well. So, as you said, have the club been prepared for this? And how would you sum up the start of your season so far? Because I think I've been impressed. Against Tottenham, this is a new Tottenham side that likes to keep possession. I think that was a difficult task, but you still managed to get something out of that game. And in your most recent one against Fulham, it was easy. It was absolutely easy. Chances created and you got the job done.
Yeah, we always create a lot of high quality chances. Some people hate XG, some people really don't. They're not into the stats, but it's they've proved to be the perfect barometer. If you're going to be able to judge how dangerous you are in front of goal, then the XG stats are there is no better measure of that, and ours are really high. We have to take those chances, and there is a lot of pressure on Brian and Bumo and Johan Wieser to carry that on. Kevin Schade, we've kind of kept him back a bit during pre-season, so we're assuming he will be that number 9 role until Ivan comes back, if he comes back. And there's obviously time in the transfer window. There's another week or so, isn't there? So we can. I'll be surprised if we don't bring another face in up top, because let's be honest, although we're spending bigger money, we haven't gone absolutely gung ho crazy, and 3 seasons in the Prem is best part of £500 million, and we haven't spent that. So I'm sure there is money to go out, and we always have to look at the what comes after Ivan anyway. So the interview this week has done him no favours, and it's done us as fans and the club pretty much no favours. But I think it just kind of underlines that if he doesn't go this window, even with the ban, he'll go next, or he'll go next summer. So yeah, we're looking for what comes after him. So this actually does give the club an opportunity to bring someone in, integrate them, get them to play a Brentford way, and have a little bit more confidence that whatever happens with Ivan, we're covered.
Yeah, so quickly about that interview, as a neutral watching it, it was fascinating to hear about his past, about even how he talks about what he wants next. But as a Brentford fan, I guess that might have been a bit annoying due to everything that's happening. How did you make of his comments about mentioning Arsenal, Liverpool? Was you okay with that? Is that why you're okay with maybe Toney leaving? Are you do you think he's going to leave sooner rather than later?
Wouldn't say I'm okay with it. I think we're realists. You have to be. Clubs like ours, you know that for a lot of time you're a stepping stone. Yeah, we're able to bring great players in, and they use their time at our club to help us push up. We're now pushing on for a European place, whether it happens this year, next year. That's not beyond the realms of possibility. It was 2-3 years ago. So Ivan has allowed us to springboard to that level. Now, we famously got a policy where we called it a no dickhead policy, where the club do their due diligence really strenuously to make sure the character of the players that they're bringing in are matched with everyone. We haven't got one prima donna. We haven't got someone that's going out and just going crazy. Now I'm not sure Ivan would pass that at the moment. Let's be honest, that he didn't come out of that interview very well, and I was looking for him to reset and take ownership of what's happened. He can't, the punishment's been and gone. The crime, it's not a crime as such, but the rules he's broken have been broken, and to keep denying that he didn't know it was wrong to bet on football is just it doesn't stack up, And as Brentford fans, I guess we all want different things. Obviously we want what's best for our club first and foremost. And all the way through his life, he's been forgiven because he scores goals. I mean, if one of our sort of average defenders or one of our youth team had done what he'd done, I'm not sure he would have been treated with the same kind of leniency and understanding and bending over backwards that Ivan's kind of received. And I guess we're protecting our asset. Let's be honest here. He's worth, on a good day, he's worth 75, 80 million. On a bad day, he's at least worth 50. So, we're kind of, I guess we're protecting that as well as a club. But as fans, we want lots of things. Yeah. We don't want to be mugged off. And there's a slight feel that we have been. He hasn't apologised. Some people say, "Oh, are you expecting an apology from Ivan? Poor old you. You've been upset by Ivan. Why should Ivan say sorry?" Well, we've we're going half a season without our best player in the most ruthless league in the world. You want your best players available, and if they're not available, it's normally through injury, or a couple of little suspensions, not a betting scandal. And betting on yourself. It's true that there's no match fixing as such involved, but it sucks. And some kind of apology to the club or understanding would have gone a long way. I just think whoever's advised him to do this they could have come out with a lot of plus points, and instead they've come out with a lot of negatives.
Yeah, especially for the club. I hear where you're coming from. If I was a Brentford fan, I would feel the same way as well, especially after watching that interview. But look, the two managers, Thomas Frank versus Roy Hodgson. I'll be honest, I think Thomas Frank is a fantastic manager. And I mean this with all due respect, but I'm surprised that, bigger teams haven't come for Thomas Frank. In terms of Thomas Frank's future at the club, and you mentioned that policy as well, the no dickhead policy, I think that comes from Thomas Frank as well. How long do you reckon you can keep him? Because he seems like he's enjoying his time at Brentford, and it would be actually nice for him to stay at Brentford for a long time.
I've interviewed him a couple of times. He came on to the Beesotted podcast a couple of seasons ago as well. He came down the pub with us, and a nicer guy you couldn't wish to meet. He's a real football intellectual. His understanding of tactics and formations, and he has out-tacticked and out-thought some of the best in the game over the last couple of years. So you're right, it wouldn't have gone unnoticed. I've asked him this question to his face, and I think from the day he joins to the day he leaves, it'll be probably about a decade. I think he'll be with us 10 years. I don't think he's in a rush to go anywhere. He knows how much he's loved. He knows he's happy. He talks about that. He's a very thoughtful person. He's mentally strong and confident, and happiness plays a huge part in the Danish psyche. And he won't have his head turned lightly. It will, obviously, if one of the top 3-4 come in for him, or one of the biggies in Europe, or the Danish national team. But the Danish national team job, that's his whenever he wants it. Really, I mean, exactly. That will come, and I'm sure that he's coached and managed all the youth teams in Denmark. He'll want the top job on his CV at some stage. But I don't think he. We've seen what happened with Potter at Chelsea. It can unravel pretty quick, and I don't think he'll want to risk that. He's paid more than he needs, and he's in a happy place. I don't see him rushing off anytime soon, mate.
Yeah, and I'll be honest, I think it's the culture at the club as well. If it was a bad run club, then I think it would be off. But it's a well-run club. Everyone's working together. So, I mean, why would you want to leave that? Good recruitment, good people at the club, developing players well. The fans love him as well. Hopefully he stays at Brentford for a long time. It'll be good to see something like that, especially nowadays where it's so rare to see a manager stay. I think it's like the third longest serving manager this season, which is crazy in itself, because he's only been in the Premier League for 3 years now, which sums up the game as it is. But quickly, in terms of what you think about Palace, what have you made of Roy Hodgson coming back to the club and what we could potentially do this season? Was you impressed by Roy coming back, or did you think that was a bit of a strange move by Palace?
Well, it's not a lot, it's clearly not a long-term strategy, but I mean, you can't sort of knock the guy. He's a sort of a national institution, isn't he? And he's like, I bumped into him on the way to Fulham on last week. Obviously, you played on Monday night, and Fulham played us on the Saturday. And quickly had a quick chat with him. I sort of one of my mates said, "Oh, Mr. Hodgson," he said, "Quick question." He said, "Do you think Ivan Toney should be? Not Ivan Toney. Rico Henry should be in the England squad?" And he went, "No, not for me." He said, "Not for me." He said, "Well, I don't know why you're asking me anyway. You should be asking Gareth Southgate." But but then he wandered off. He was walking he looked sprightly. He looked fit.
He's energized on the touchline as well. I mean, he's been up for it a few times.
I saw him having a little scrap the other week. But
Yeah, exactly.
yeah, no. So Roy Hodgson, he knows the game inside out, doesn't he? And if until you find the right person, you could do a lot worse, So he knows your club inside out. He obviously got a great relationship with the chairman and the board. He's probably not in charge of buying and selling, so he's he's there as a figurehead, and he's a safe pair of hands, isn't he? So yeah, you could go a lot wrong.
100%, 100%. And let's quickly talk about score predictions now. This is going to be interesting because, as I said, we love a draw. We love a draw. It's like no one wants to beat each other in the Premier League. And I think the last 4 games have been a draw. Not only that, what I find the weirdest thing about it is this is always the same scoreline in the same season. So the season before last season, it was 0-0s. Last season, it was 1-1s. This season, do you think Brentford could get the job done?
I think you're right. I think the results will match each other again this year, and they'll both be 2-1 to us.
2-1 to us. I'll take that. I mean, you get 3 points, we get 3 points, but you get
no. We're going to do the double. We're going to win both 2-1.
Yeah, we can't do that. We can't do that. Let's take the 3 points this week. You guys, you're well run. You'll get points along the way. We can't lose against Brentford. So I'll be honest. I'll take a point away from home. I know it tends to happen often anyway, so it's more than likely. But I think Brentford is going to be difficult, and also we haven't got our attackers back. Elise, of course, he's staying at the club, which is fantastic news. Zaha's replacement, Francois, he's not going to be available due to an injury. And I think what cost us in the Arsenal game was our attacking free. So I think we could still create chances with Eze on the pitch, but I don't think we will score like 3 or 4 goals. But yeah, I think I'm going to go for 1-1. But Laney, you're backing your boys. I don't blame you at all.
2-1 Brentford this weekend.
Exactly, and you're playing well as well. So let us know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Do you think Palace can actually get a result against Brentford? When I talk about result, a win, which we haven't done in a long time, or do you think Brentford will get the win? Let us know in the comment section down below. And also make sure to check out Beesotted Brentford, as Laney has said himself. Fantastic content. After the games as well, pre-match as well. I'm on a podcast pre-match giving my thoughts ahead of the game. If you have enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe, people. And until next time, up the Palace.
Come on, you bees.